Nathan, it's been a real whirlwind few days, but you're finally in Larne. You've got to put your foot in the pitch and you've met the players and all the rest of it. How happy are you to be here and to be the new Larne manager?
I'm absolutely delighted. It's been quick. Obviously, this time last week is when we started the conversations. A little bit of transition in terms of getting overseas and getting here and getting to work, but today was just a good feeling around the players, the enthusiasm in the building and the board of directors. So everything I expected. And yeah, just stepped on the pitch there. Really good feeling about the place. Learned a lot about the town already, so really looking forward to getting going.
And we talked earlier about having to tie up loose ends back at home. You've swapped Seville for Larne. Some people might ask if you're mad. What has been the main reason behind that?
I think this is the best opportunity at the correct time in terms of my career. I've left my wife in Seville in terms of she's currently playing over there, but in terms of the career and opportunity of such a big club, I think this is the right moment to come in. You've had a really good foundations in place over the last 7 years. We're obviously Tiernan, and I just think in terms of what I can bring, it's the right moment to get on the grass.
And talk us through a little bit about the process. It's obviously been around a week or so that Larne have been looking for a new manager. Tell us what that looked like and how that came about from your end.
Yeah, the interest was probably back end of last Monday. I've kind of not spoken to the club in the past, but always kept a fond eye in terms of what's going on and always asking questions about the club. And we spoke last week, Monday evening. Over the course of the night, there was an approach made to the club, and from there the discussions, how the club operates, how the football's going to look, some of the things that's going on behind the scenes. And I think obviously my answers they matched Kenny's answers and Niall's and Gareth's. And this is where we are now. So yeah, over the course of the last 7 days, tried to get here a day sooner, but all in one trip and no return.
And you come in as a 35-year-old manager, which isn't old by managerial terms, but you do have a lot of experience under your belt in terms of coaching and management. Maybe give the Larne fans a little bit of a flavour of what that's looked like for you in your journey so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking at 17, 18 years in the game, came out of the Blackburn Rovers youth set-up, went straight into the coaching opportunities around the 18, 19 mark, and since then it's been a successful pathway. I think in terms of going into it so young, you get that chance to obviously keep an eye on how the game changes, working with different managers, and obviously the opportunity to progress over the last few years has happened, and now I find myself in an unbelievable opportunity off the back of the work that we've done. So great foundation at Blackburn Rovers as a youngster, going into them Fleetwood Town in a really important role, the development squad, working with a German manager with Uwe Rosler. We've obviously got a couple of different examples in there when I progressed to Crawley Town as well as the assistant. So kind of had the 6-7 years in the EFL coming away from Blackburn, and the time was right to step in the head coach role, and yeah, long may it continue.
And that head coach role with the Magpies, people on this island and this country will know you, I'm sure, over the last few summers. Took on Crusaders. I think it was the Magpies' first game in Europe, and you won the first leg and lost out narrowly overall. And then this year was very memorable for you as you got past Derry City as well. So those experiences, I'm sure, as a manager must have been invaluable. Amazing.
And I think in terms of playing Irish teams over 3 years in the summer, it's given me a really good foundation in terms of the level, the league, the quality, and also where the teams want to go. I think it's such a memorable time against Crusaders. Obviously the heat over there, it's a game plan for us. We played on it every single time. And this year we managed to use our experiences over the last 3 years to try and get the game over the line against Derry City. And we did. And the history and obviously the financial return for the club has left that in such a sustainable place now. You kind of say, look, the time was right for myself, and they're going to go on a new journey now, and we got the heights of the Copenhagen game. So yeah, overall the Europeans obviously always been the target, and we've done really well against some of the Irish teams in the past.
And managers, I suppose, nowadays talk a lot about maybe philosophy or style of play. Again, introducing yourself to Larne fans, what does a Nathan Rooney team typically look like, or what might a Nathan Rooney Larne team look like?
Very energetic, very tactical, astute in terms of how we want to go about it. I said to some of the players today about got to get to a level where we're jumping from competition to competition, but at the same time being consistent in terms of how we look. Very aggressive in terms of the distance that we need to cover, but also having more control and more, not arrogance, but more understanding that we can dictate the games with the ball for larger periods, and I think that will obviously come through the training regime as well. So very aggressive, obviously the foundations with the previous manager, good at pressing team, good legs, good at first and second balls. That's kind of ingrained now in the squad. So now we're just going to look in terms of how we can control the game a little bit more and hopefully get that momentum as soon as we start.
And we talked previously about the experience that you've had with Crusaders, Derry City, I think maybe Dundalk as well. Yeah. Over the last week or so, what have you maybe been able to find out about Irish League football and what it takes to possibly be successful at this level?
I've had time to research. I've had a lot of time, even through the process and prior to the process. It's always been a league that I've been keeping an eye on. But obviously the people in the building, Gary, have been amazing in terms of the last couple of days and the last 7 days. Also the board in terms of passing things across, so that everything's mirrored in terms of what I delivered, how they see the football at Larne being played, but also maybe how the league's going to be played out for the rest of the season. Obviously there's a difference in terms of obviously League of Ireland and Northern Ireland, and most of my experiences have been obviously within this the league, but also I've recruited and worked with players from this division as well. So I've worked with Keane Bulger in a previous club, worked with Mark Randall at a previous club as well. So you kind of tap into what they know, but at the same time, as long as the football idea matches the level and the quality of the league, then it works hand in hand.
Yeah, and you mentioned Gary there and the conversations that you've had. How maybe valuable will it be to have him as your assistant and some of the other staff still on the ground who obviously know the squad, but also know the league and the level and what it takes here?
Absolutely. Well, the agreement was for me to come in. Obviously, I'm a part of the Larne family. Rather than me obviously coming in and trying to turn things around, nothing's broken. It's there to be built on, it's there to be manoeuvred, and obviously we've got to try and get that energy and everything what's sustainable week in, week out. But Gary's knowledge of the game as a player, and obviously many people within the building, unbelievable in terms of how they've come across today, picked up the form midweek, but in terms of the game planning, there's obviously got to be an integration of how I see it, but the game management and in-game decisions, that's obviously going to be with me and the backroom team. So no, Gary's going to be vital. He's in charge tomorrow night. Roll into the role together over the course of the weekend, and many meetings from now till then to get the plans in place.
And looking from afar and keeping an eye on the league, what has been your impressions of Larne as a team and a club, and some of the things that you maybe have found out or as I say, seen as an observer or somebody who's coming in from the outside? Yeah,
absolutely. Obviously we've got unbelievable quality in terms of the dressing room. It looks to me that we're getting the players at the right age. Got a really good, obviously 25, 26 average age in the squad, so we're building an athletic group. We're building and trying obviously working with the youth system, trying to find the gems and work on them as they come through the system. But it's about retaining, it's about giving them the first team opportunity as well with the training and the times. So that's been a big part of that. I've seen the shape, I've seen how the team works and been consistent with the formation, and that's allowed you to obviously get back-to-back titles as well as get into the group stages of the Europa League Conference. So I just see a philosophy and ingrainment, a pathway, which is something that we don't just want a pathway for the players now, we want that pathway for the staff as well. So they've got that aspiration to come with the players and have a familiar face.
Yeah. And I'm sure back in the summer at the end of August you kept a keen eye whenever we played the Red Imps, and right, such an historic tie and a historic night for us as well. And it's funny the way football works sometimes, you wouldn't maybe have believed that a couple of months later you would be the man to lead the rest of the Conference League campaign.
I watched the game with fondness. It was unbelievable. Obviously delighted for you to get that over the line as well, and just even with 10 men as well, and the resilience and the ground, everything was obviously really the support was massive. Watching back at that, Lincoln's been a massive test for us in terms of the league I've come from. We went through a period where it was really successful against the league champions. We took the trophies off them, got ourselves in a couple of league campaigns, went top of the league, just coming into the final stages. And so yeah, in terms of you beating Lincoln, it's a story, and sometimes things are written in the stars. So I now come from that side and welcome myself into the new campaign and the new league, and I'm really looking forward to stamping my mark here.
Yeah, and there's still so much of this campaign left, isn't there? There's half of the Conference League games left to play. There's a final in the new year. There's maybe around 2/3 of the league campaign to come. An Irish Cup draw was made today, so there's a lot of football still to be played and a lot still to be decided this year. Yeah,
absolutely. I think we've got to get momentum now. We've had a chat to the players this morning. We've got to have the mentality from like I started the conversation, European to league campaign. That shift of mentality in terms of, at times we might feel like we're the underdog in terms of European football, but that'll swing eventually. More experience in the competitions and better performances and having that bravery to do that. But at the moment, we've got to have a clear eye in terms of the league campaign. We've got to manage the players in between the games over the coming days and the coming weeks, and make sure that we can try and get a momentum build now in terms of the points back on the table. So good opportunity for the younger players as well. I know everyone says the same things, but I don't have a pre-season. I need to use certain opportunities in certain competitions to see the squad. And obviously everybody's playing for the next steps within the football careers as well. So I think shift the mentality, be brave, go and put on a showcase in terms of European games and hit the ground running in the league. Yeah.
And you mentioned the fans yesterday in your statement whenever we announced your arrival. How important will it be to have that tight-knit club and tight-knit community, and how much are you looking to kind of forward to having that backing behind you?
I'm very, very approachable with that. I want to feel the fans' energy. I think for me that's one of my biggest strengths. I'm infectious with that. I want to be approachable, and I'm quite happy to answer questions in terms of what's going on behind the scenes. Every fan's interested in terms of why certain player not playing and what's happening in terms of certain games, but I'll be open with it. We're looking forward to getting a chance, hopefully maybe tomorrow on the trip as well, to see the travelling fans, and in and around the match days I'll be more than available to say hello, and hopefully we're celebrating at full time.
And football in Gibraltar has been growing, but maybe not quite to the level yet, of the Irish League in terms of big match days and big crowds. And we've talked already here about maybe the odd Friday night and under the lights and fans behind you. I'm sure you're looking forward to kind of experiencing that atmosphere in Larne and the Irish League in general.
Absolutely. The summer competitions for me was always the motivation. When I left the EFL, you miss the fans, you miss the adrenaline, you miss the environment in terms of what the fans can do for you. And realistically, the fans can get you 9-12 points extra every single season. Just getting the team over the line some nights. Sometimes it'll be a little bit ugly. Sometimes the clock will be running itself down. But we want to be, clear. Want to be confident in terms of our games. And for me, I can't wait to feel the noise and the pump again. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Tuesday night, we want to give that energy. I want to give that energy and that time to people. And obviously, it'd be great to have that in return all the time as well.
And just finally, we've talked about the fact that obviously Gary is in charge on Thursday night, and you take over officially in that sense on Friday. So what will the next few days look like for you in terms of just getting to know everybody and preparing for that first game, which is against Cliftonville on Sunday?
Travel with the squad tomorrow, utilise the in-between time with the meetings, and obviously really get into depth in terms of what we're missing or what we're not missing. And obviously, whilst we're on the trip, we're going to put the game plan in place for the weekend as well. So, as you know, sometimes when you're away from the training ground and the environment, people let the guards down. You get to learn a bit more about them on a personal level. So for me, this is an absolute crystal time. It's going to see them in a different kind of light. But the focus is the game. I'm not going to take that emphasis away from what's important the next couple of days. And as we travel back, we'll have the day to recover, and we'll prepare on Saturday, ready to go Sunday.
Well, Nathan, on behalf of all Larne fans, you're really welcome, and we're really delighted to have you on board.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you
for your time.
Thank you.